Hey guys, today is something you don't want to miss. I'm going to experiment. I'm going to squeeze as many ways as I can possibly think of out of one paste. So how about let's just get started. So first I'm going to grab my pastes. They're all neat in a box and I think I'm going to go with pink today. I have a wet wipe and I make a little ball out of it. And then I'm going to pick up some paste with the wet wipe. I'm picking it up straight from the jar and I close the jar right away so it doesn't dry out. Then I'm going to spread the paste by rubbing over my desk. And by rubbing my wet wipe over the desk, I will get a nice even layer. So I'm going to wipe from the top downwards. So I'm using the most pressure at the top and less pressure at the bottom. So the color gets from dark to a bit lighter. And you get some really fun stripes at the bottom. And then I was thinking, why only use pink? Why not just grab all the colors of the rainbow? So let's just do that. So I'm going to do the same thing in orange and one in yellow, in green, in blue and in purple. And when I had those backgrounds, I still had my wet wipes with some color on it. And then I was thinking, why not use 3 colors on one card? So I did the same wiping with the wet wipe, but now with 3 colors on one card. First in the warm colors and then also the same in the cool colors. And now that we're on a roll, stretching that paste, let's do some stretching with the embossing folder as well. So first I'm going to start by adding the paper in an embossing folder. I sprayed water on 2 sides and this will help the paper stretch without cracking too much. Then I'm going to make my sandwich and I'm going to run it through the machine. And once I ran it through the machine once, I get this nice impression. And then I'm going to pick up the paper and then I'm going to line it up next to the outline of the pattern on the embossing folder and on the embossed part. I'm going to close the embossing folder, make my sandwich again and run it to the machine once more. And then this is the result. A nice big embossed panel with a small embossing folder. Now this is a pretty neat trick. The only thing is that you get sort of an uneven seam in the middle. Just put the card flat on your desk and rub over that seam a few times and it flattens perfectly. And this embossing folder is a cool one because it has numbers and you can use numbers for, well, about anything. So this is a great one to have in your stash. So I chopped up the embossed strips and now I'm going to add some color again. I'm starting with the pink again and I'm diluting it with water, quite a lot. I'm using a big soft brush, which works really well to apply the diluted paste and for an uneven surface like this embossed card. So I'm covering the complete panel with my paste. Now this is way too much color, so let's just try it again. So I'm going to color the yellow card now. So I'm diluting the paste with way more water this time and this will give me a nice soft color and that's just what we need when we want to use that paste in obnoxious many ways. Once I'm finished with one color, coloring a complete panel, I'm going to color the multicolor panel as well. That will save me some time cleaning, which I had to do a lot already. So next, here I have all my dried one color backgrounds. So now it's time to use that paste once more in a different way. So paste and a stencil, that is a bit of a no-brainer, right? So I'm going to add this really cool stencil with lots of different patterns on my card and I'm going to apply paste at the top. I first add a bigger layer at the top and then I'm smoothing that out towards the bottom and I go over it with the spatula from the top to the bottom to create a nice even layer. And this paste is a really great beginner's paste because it spreads like butter. It's really a shot for open goal because it's stencil butter, but it's really a super easy paste to work with. And now I'm going to try a technique that I normally use to clean the stencil, but I'm going to use it in a bit of a different way. So for cleaning the stencil, I always have a wet wipe and I make a little ball of that again. And now I'm going to softly wipe at the top and then sort of swiping it down over my stencil because I don't want to mess up that pattern I just filled with the stencil butter. And this will give you a really cool, almost dimensional, in a flat way, design, which when I show that to other crafters, they often find this result even better than the original one with the paste. So it's definitely worth a try. And that's the pattern I get from the stencil, and of course I did this for the other cards as well. Now if you want to learn how to use paste and stencils and get a really good result, then I have a guide for you about stencils and paste, and you can find it I think here in a link or in the link in the description box as well. For the next technique, I pick some of the paste up with a sponge and I have a scrap piece of paper on my desk. I'm going to make a circular motion over that scrap piece of paper to spread that paste or butter in the sponge. to get a nice even layer, so I don't get any thick blobs, because apparently I don't like thick blobs, so that's why I have that piece of paper. And then I'm going to apply the paste on the embossed panel, and I'm doing that in sort of a circular motion as well, swiping lightly over the raised parts, and this will help reveal that pattern and make it stand out even more, and it gets a nice color and some shine. And like some sort of Teletubby, I'm going to repeat all the steps with the other colors, because, well, what's better than making one card? Making 8 cards at once, of course. Really? Well, I'm not sure about that. Anyway, but it's going to be so cool when they are all done, right? And now we need a focal point, so what better for that than some flowers? So on the desk I have a flower, and I'm going to use that same sponge. But I'm going to just simply make a turning motion in the middle of the flower, and then once I have that color down, a really nice layer, I'm going to wipe it outwards with most pressure in the heart of the flower and less pressure towards the tips of the petals. And if there is a bit of a bigger blob on your sponge, I have no idea what I have with blobs today, then you can wipe that in the center and then just use that flower like I used the scrap piece of paper. Am I done? Oh no, not yet, because I'm on a roll. Let's just try something else. So I've also colored a smaller flower, and now I have a ball tool, and I'm going to pick up some of that paste, and I'm going to press that down in the middle. And then I'm going to use the smaller tip of the ball tool to make a bit of texture in the center. Then I pick up some more of that paste, and I'm going to add some cute dots on the petals in the same color. And doing that for all the flowers again. Yay! And at this point I think we need something more, so let's try something else. Now, because a flower with only 2 layers is kind of boring, so I cut some vellum flowers as well, and I'm going to color them with the leftover paste on the sponge. And this is just a tiny bit of the paste, giving me a nice thin layer, but look at how shiny and how pretty that is on vellum. It's really cute. Hey, wait, I just thought of another way to use the paste. And I'm back to the embossed strips again. And now I'm just going to pick up bits with my finger. And now it's getting really messy. And I'm going to wipe my finger off on the edge of the strip. And this gives you a really cool dimensional layer. And I make it uneven on purpose, because I think it adds to the fun of the end result. Now I also have a tip to keep that paste in a good condition, so you can use it all the way up to the bottom. So to keep that paste in a good condition, you need your paste and a spray bottle of water. Spray water inside the bottle a few times, like 3-4 spritches, so there's a nice bit of water inside. Then you just put on the lid and put it aside for half an hour to an hour, and then just check if the water is all gone. And this is a great way to sort of moisturize your paste and keep it in good condition. I'm going to show you another way. You can also use the sponge with the paste that's still left in there, so don't add anything new, and use it as if you would use an ink blending tool. And that will give you a nice, a little bit more subtle layer, which is also cool. And I also have a few petals that I cut and folded a few times. And you can add the paste on there in the same way as well. Just swiping over it, touching it lightly along the edges and on the folded pieces. And that way the folds and creases will stand out a bit more. And to show you the difference between Stencil Butter and Lunar Paste, it's basically the same in other colors and another brand. And now I think we're ready to assemble and make a nice flower stack. So all the layers of my flower are dry, and I'm just going to use regular glue. First I'm going to glue the cardstock flowers to the vellum flowers, and then I glue the small flowers on top of the bigger flowers. It's pretty straightforward and extremely simple, but I wanted to show it anyway. So just make your card in one color or mix and match those colors. It's all up to you, because you are the maker, so you are in charge. So just do what suits you best. And then you always have those things that went wrong, sort of. If you messed up a bit, then use the embossed panel to cover it up. And you can use the flower as well. And for the embossed panels as well as for the cards, you decide how you want to add them to your cards, because it's your design. Another thing that I think is really cool to add on a card to give it a bit of extra interest. Like we need more interest. Well, this is a very cheap way. I like to add some thread or twine. I always think that looks really cute. And you can also use those leaves, the green colored ones, for some more versatility. For the multicolored cards, I have some multicolored flowers. And I add some drops in the middle. And a drop on the pink-orange flower. I didn't like the color really, but I used it as a base to add some micro beads on top. Now that was a lot of fun. I hope you are ready to squeeze your paste as well. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. And as always, make sure to keep on crafting.